You know, very often for people, life gets too difficult and it gets in the way of them living their dreams. Well, you're about to meet a woman who triumphantly got off what she calls her path of sorrow and gave her life a delicious twist. You know her as the pretzel lady, Auntie Anne. Now, for the first time, she's talking about her remarkable journey in a new book called Twist of Faith. Our Claire Shipman has more on that.
You're going to show me how to twist pretzels.
She has a knack for molding, twisting, shaping even the most difficult batch into something remarkable.
Look at these babies.
Auntie Anne, or Ann Beiler, still gets sentimental over the first pretzel she and her husband perfected 20 years ago.
We got the pretzels out of the oven, and we couldn't wait to taste them because they smelled so great and they looked completely different, and we're completely amazed. And we started to, just eat this pretzel, and it was wow.
And there is a real art to pretzel making and twisting, as we soon discover.
Now, what do you think about that? See?
The buttery trademark taste and Anne's painstaking perfectionism turned Auntie Anne's into a $300 million machine with 925 locations around the world.
I became passionate about pretzels. Everywhere I went, I saw pretzels. Everybody needs to experience an Auntie Anne pretzel because they're better than the best.
A big climb for a woman who grew up poor and Amish with 8 siblings and an 8th grade education. But she's managed to mold her often challenging life in much the same way she goes at her dough, with plenty of determination and faith. The first test of that faith came early, a young mother to 19-month-old Angela.
Angela was the pride and joy. My sister was driving a Bobcat, and Angie made her little trek up to Grandma's house that morning and didn't see her, and she ran over her and she was killed instantly. That changed my life in a way that what I say now is it took me down the path of sorrow.
The grief really seems to come off the pages in your book.
When Angie died, it was like I didn't know how to talk anymore. I didn't know how to feel.
She'd left the Amish faith years before, but still deeply religious, she turned to her pastor for help.
I remember feeling just relieved that, wow, I can talk to somebody that seems to understand how I'm feeling. And before I left his office that day, he seduced me.
It was a double blow. She was emotionally vulnerable, still grieving her daughter, and ridden with guilt as she continued an unthinkable affair.
What were those years like for you? I mean, you said destructive, despairing.
In a warped sense, I really felt like that he someday would help me, and the reality was I was sinking further and further into despair, the darkest days of my life.
She later learned the pastor seduced her sister and one of her 2 daughters.
Mom, he did it to me too. At that moment, I thought that was the worst thing that ever happened to me.
She finally built up the strength to push the pastor out of her life, and then she had to face her husband.
You thought it might be over.
Oh, I thought it was going to be over. It doesn't make any sense. Why would a man love his wife like that? And I always say, have you ever been loved? Really loved? When you're crazy and don't deserve it? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't.
He forgave you.
He forgave me.
The worst day of my life was when I thought I was losing the marriage. So it became very difficult for me to think about all that, and didn't know what else to do but to carry on.
And 3 years ago, she made a fitting move. After almost 20 years perfecting the brand and a lot of stress, she decided to sell, to focus on Jonas's passion and career, family counseling.
And it really never did hit home until we experienced counseling ourselves, and then I became very focused, and I said, this is what I'm going to set out to do.
This brand new community center, funded by the sale of Auntie Anne's, will offer affordable family counseling in the heart of Amish country.
It's a story of building a business, but it's a story of so much more.
To conquer adverse circumstances, I have to conquer myself first. Auntie Anne's really was the catalyst that it took for me to conquer Ann Beiler. I feel so blessed in so many ways. It's very difficult for me to describe that today. It's been a wonderful life after all.
For Good Morning America, Claire Shipman.
If you want to read an excerpt of Twist of Faith, go to abcnews.com. Little side note for you here. Annie Ann says, through our pretzel cam, you see the world through a pretzel lens, pretzel-colored glasses? So they started selling the pretzels at an Amish market, because Annie Ann was Amish. She said they didn't taste that right. Her husband decided to add a secret ingredient, and the rest, as they say, is in your mouth. How do they taste?
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Still haven't had one. They have some over here. Let's see if I can score one for me.
I'll save you one, Chris. Don't worry.
Thank you very much. I don't know, the kids look hungry. They're giving me the
really.
eye.
I know.
Don't reach. Don't reach.
My name's Robin. I'll be serving you this morning. And please be very generous to your servers, Heidi, Robin, and
Tip
Chris.
well.
Tip well. Tip well. 2 more to go.
We don't have a pretzel for you guys, but we have Leona Lewis, the story behind her success. When we come back, I'll eat this for you.